The first step in adopting a mastery goal is to replace our entity beliefs with incremental beliefs. Entity beliefs say that your nature is set in stone, that who you are is who you always will be. Incremental beliefs say that you can change in meaningful and lasting ways. Entity and incremental beliefs can be generalized to describe the entirety of who you are, or they can be specific to a single component of your character. You may hold entity beliefs about some aspects of your character while also having incremental beliefs about other parts of yourself. What really matters for your academic motivation is your beliefs about intelligence. Do you believe your intelligence is set in stone? Do you see yourself as either smart or dumb? Or do you see your mind as a muscle that can grow with time and effort? Let's start with entity beliefs. Entity beliefs of intelligence tell you that the point of an education is to prove to others that you are intelligent. You read the books to prove that you can understand the ideas, and you take the tests to prove that you can remember them. You engage in your education so that your professors can judge your worth in the form of a letter grade. This doesn't sound like a lot of fun, and it's hardly inspiring. Incremental beliefs of intelligence, however, tell you that the point of your education is to become more intelligent, to develop an understanding of the ideas in the books you read, and to challenge yourself with the tests you take. With incremental beliefs, you engage in your education with your professor, who guides you with feedback on your progress. Incremental beliefs tell you that your studying matters, not because it will get you a degree, but because it will change you for the better. It's easy to consciously hold incremental beliefs of intelligence because the rationale behind them is intuitive and scientifically backed. It's intuitive because we have seen others grow and we have grown ourselves. The only knowledge we're born with is how to breathe, how to eat, and how to cry. Everything else you know how to do is something you've learned through your education, your experiences, and your conversations. And it's not just you. Everyone who knows what you know had to learn it the same way you did. When Albert Einstein was born, his first words were not E equals mc squared. And if he were here now, he might need your help how to work a smartphone. The scientific backing for incremental beliefs of intelligence is best summarized by our current understanding of neuroplasticity, in which the physical structure of the brain changes as a result of our actions and experiences. Your rational, conscious self probably already holds incremental beliefs of intelligence. We just need to make sure your subconscious self is on the same page. Subconscious entity and incremental beliefs of intelligence come from the unnoticed implications of what you hear other people say. For example, if someone says, "I'm smart enough to understand this," their words imply that some people are inherently incapable of understanding complicated ideas. On the other hand, if someone says, "I'm learning how to do this," their words imply that things you don't understand now can be learned and understood in time. When you hear one type of belief implied more often than most, your subconscious recognizes that belief as the norm and assumes that it's the norm for good reason. This assumption is enough for it to temporarily adopt the belief as its own. In this way, your subconscious mind conforms to the beliefs that other people have. There are two exceptions to this rule. The first exception is when you are consciously thinking about entity or incremental beliefs while you are calm and relaxed. When you're calm and relaxed, your subconscious mind is less active and will listen to your conscious mind. However, when you're stressed or excited, your subconscious mind is too busy speaking to listen to what your conscious mind has to say. The second exception is when the implied belief conflicts with a belief that has become chronically accessible. Usually, the beliefs your subconscious has are only temporary. It can adopt one person's entity beliefs in the mornings, and then adopt someone else's incremental belief in the afternoon, without noticing the inconsistency. However, if your subconscious adopts the same beliefs over and over again, then that belief will become ingrained into your subconscious. Those ingrained beliefs are chronically accessible, which means your subconscious is always thinking about them, and it notices when a new belief contradicts it. Internalizing incremental beliefs of intelligence means making those beliefs chronically accessible. Having chronically accessible incremental beliefs of intelligence will make you immune to the entity beliefs of others. Fortunately, making these beliefs chronically accessible is fairly straightforward. When you are calm and relaxed, you can make your subconscious adopt incremental beliefs by consciously thinking about them. Then, distract yourself by engaging in a new activity or moving into a different room so that you're no longer thinking about incremental beliefs. At this point, your subconscious will have dropped those incremental beliefs. After it's dropped those beliefs, consciously think about them again, so it has to pick them back up. After repeating this process over and over again, the subconscious will learn that it's easier to just keep holding those incremental beliefs instead of picking them up every time. The first thing you'll need is a succinct mantra that represents incremental beliefs of intelligence. Something like, the mind is a muscle, or I've learned so much already and I can learn so much more. Bonus points if your mantra has a melody, since melodies strengthen memories. The second thing you'll need is a way to remind yourself to think it, speak it, or sing it after you become distracted. This can be done with notes at various locations in your home, with a timer that periodically goes off, or by wearing a symbol. Some notes can work well because we associate ideas with locations. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in there? The idea you had was left behind in the room where you first created it. The hope is that you'll leave your incremental theories behind as you move around your house, ensuring that the subconscious has dropped the ideas by the time you see the reminder. If you use reminders, be sure to relocate them every so often so they don't melt into the background. A timer may be more reliable than notes. There are a lot of variables involved in how long a thought lingers in the subconscious, such as the emotional intensity of the thought, the type of distraction used, and the individual's level of engagement with the distraction. So we can't say exactly how long you'll have to wait before your subconscious drops the idea. Some people drop some ideas after a few minutes of being distracted, but others need to be distracted for more than half an hour. If you use a periodic timer, it's recommended to use long intervals to make sure that the idea is dropped by the time you repeat your mantra. Lastly, connecting the idea to something you wear could work as long as you regularly forget you're wearing it. A ribbon, a ring, or a light necklace could work. Chronically accessible beliefs can form much faster than habits, especially when it's done systematically. There is a chance you already have chronically accessible entity beliefs of intelligence. In order to undo chronically accessible beliefs, we must practice translating entity statements into incremental statements until the practice becomes automated and effortless. This causes a strong association to be made between entity beliefs and incremental beliefs, so that every time your subconscious thinks about an entity belief, it's immediately reminded of an incremental belief. Once the subconscious is conditioned to contradict its own chronically accessible entity beliefs, it gets trapped in a cycle of constantly switching back and forth between the two different beliefs. We're basically forcing the subconscious to juggle the two beliefs until it realizes that it's easier to just drop both beliefs and wait till someone tells them which one to pick up. At that point, you can begin internalizing incremental beliefs of intelligence using the same process discussed earlier. The amount of practice you'll have to do will depend on how long your entity beliefs of intelligence have been chronically accessible. You'll know when translating entity statements into incremental statements has become automated when you no longer have to think about the answer. Once the process is automated, the chronically accessible beliefs could be undone in the same day. However, you'll still have to get a good night's sleep if you want the change to stick. You can check if it sticks by practicing again and seeing if you can still translate entity statements without having to think about it. Chronically accessible entity beliefs can come from growing up around people with generalized entity beliefs or being surrounded by people with generalized entity beliefs. It's recommended that you begin to internalize incremental beliefs quickly after undoing the chronically accessible entity beliefs in order to prevent the influences that gave you these chronically accessible entity beliefs from being able to rebuild them.